Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Daily Debate. My name is Ahmed Nader, and tonight we're going to focus on the power of the artificial intelligence in fueling the Egyptian digital transformation for the future and entering the new republic. But we'll be first of all starting with the main top stories that took place for today on Thursday, as President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi held summit talks with the visiting Brazilian President Lula da Silva at the Ittihadiyya Presidential Palace on Thursday. Following the talks, the two leaders held a joint press conference during which President al-Sisi described the Brazilian president as an inspiring figure who is being appreciated by the Brazilian people and the world. President al-Sisi stressed that the talks reflected the will of the two sides to develop the bilateral ties in various domains. The head of state also asserted that meeting with the Brazilian president underscored the importance of ceasefire and protecting the lives of the civilians and starting the after-war phase to announce a Palestinian state with Jerusalem as its capital. For his part, the Brazilian president said his country is proud of the bilateral relations with Egypt, pointing that the proposed during the summit to upgrade the bilateral relations with Egypt to the level of strategic partnership and establish a joint committee to enhance the bilateral ties. The two leaders also witnessed the signing of a number of cooperation agreements between the two countries in various domains. And I am honored to be having with me over the phone Dr. Ahmed Mustafa, the international relations expert, to be focusing more on such an important visit by the Brazilian president and the meeting that took place between the Brazilian president and President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. Dr. Ahmed Mustafa, thank you very much for being with us tonight on Nile TV International and the Daily Debate.
Thanks a lot, dear friend, and I'm honored to participate in this daily debate because I already participated, but from Soyo, but because I'm from Alexandria, it was a little bit difficult according to, the meteorological conditions. We have a rainy day and cold day as well. That's it. Concerning the meeting between the two counterparts, our President, Mr. Sisi, and the Brazilian President Lula da Silva, I think it's coming under the umbrella of, the BRICS Plus, because as of the beginning of this year, January, Egypt became a full member in BRICS Plus, so the BRICS, the 5 countries, plus the other 5 countries added to the BRICS, because Argentina, as you know, withdrew from the participation in the other activities according to the new election that had a new liberal regime, anti, the communism and anti-China and Russia and supporting Israel. Therefore, this visit is very important, and as we see, one of the most important landmarks, the statements of His Excellency Mr. Lula da Silva, once he said that the genocide is, devastating, it's a catastrophic, and the Palestinians should enjoy their own sovereign states with full rights. This is one of the most important things that also coming in conformity with the Egyptian viewpoint in that respect concerning the regional issues. We cannot forget that Mr. Lula da Silva is coming from a left background, and he escalated from just a shoe polisher to be the figure number 1 in one of the biggest countries worldwide and the biggest countries in Latin America. Egypt and Brazil are very similar in a lot of things. Also, should we know that in Fortaleza, this Brazilian city includes the BRICS banks, which was established in 2014. Also, therefore, according to such negotiations, we may, for example, discussing some feasible projects in that respect that BRICS country can fund and finance for the Egyptian party in that respect. There are a lot of relations between the two countries. Despite the volume of trade is still not so much big, it's about 100.7 billion US dollars. Egypt sharing about 250, something like that, million US dollars exports, including, some textiles, some petroleum products, things like that. When Brazil, of course, they are exporting to us the meat, whether in poultry or whether the meat that's coming from buffaloes and cattle and things like that, as well as the vehicles, as well as some agricultural products or some issues in that respect. Brazil, they have a very good experience as well in the field of energy, in the field of innovative ideas, in the field of tourism. Therefore, both the countries can get the benefits of, the good experiences of each other. Also, Egypt, they have a good experience in the digitization and artificial intelligence in that respect. Therefore, Brazil may take some or may use some of the Egyptian successful experience in that respect. Also, we may get the benefit of, the international organization of some global events, because that Brazil in just 2 years, they already in 2014 and 2016, they were successful just to organize the World Cup for soccer, yes, as well as the Olympic Games in 2016 in Rio de Janeiro. Therefore, this is a kind of greater experience that we should maybe adopt from Brazil, a country similar to our culture and our position in the world. Also, Brazil representing the economy number 9 worldwide, and she is a part of the G20. I think yesterday that was the visit of President Erdogan, and today is the official visit of Mr. Lula da Silva. I think this, as I said yesterday, cooperation on the level of East-South and South-South can add a lot, and this is inspired from leader Jamal Abdel Nasser when he started, for example, the NAM, and started to incorporate some associations and federations, even for the writers, for the authors, for the countries that is against, the imperialism, things like that. Therefore, all of that will add value to Egypt, because I think we get, or we fed off the lying of the West for more than 45 years, and the countries that betting on the West, I think they are completely loser in that respect. Yes. Therefore, we have to check new experiences and new countries, and study the success, the stories and the secrets of their success, because also Brazil, they have a good experience in the matter of education and health and investing in humans and having like a humanitarian asset in that respect. They can, for example, export a lot of experts in terms of athletic or athletes, in terms of top models, in terms of researchers, in terms of, professionals to worldwide, especially to the West and to East. The 4 Brazilians are successful worldwide. We should study how could Brazil did that. There are some secrets for the success in that respect. This is exactly what I wanted to say according to the precious official visit of President Lula da Silva.
Yes, Doctor, that was an overview for the visit of the Brazilian president and the summit that took place between His Excellency President Assisi and the Brazilian President Lula da Silva. I would like to ask you about an exciting topic that you have mentioned during the overview of the meetings, which is the invitation that Egypt has received from Brazil to be participating in the G20 meetings. What does this mean, and what does it mean more specifically for the bilateral ties between Egypt and Brazil, politically and economically?
This is also, coming, as I said, there is, in the Egyptian state, there is a new dedication to South-South cooperation and also more openness to an alliance, a new alliance, which is BRICS Plus, that we are a member, or that we were a member just 1 month before.
Yes.
That will allow to us just to not only recognize the new experiences of success, but also it will allow to us just to get funds, to get loans with proper conditions, just to have greater cooperations with promising markets with a greater population. Because, for example, the population of Brasilia is 220 million, and this is the largest population in Latin America. Therefore, once you have a kind of unique product, you can export to Brazil. And here also, I forgot to say that we should, for example, establish like a free zone area for the companies of Brazil that will facilitate the work between the two countries. And also such kinds of free zones that should be exempted from, should be free customs or things like that. That stimulates more and more, the trade or the mutual trade between the two countries. Also, one of the good things that I forgot to say,
yes.
Also that within BRICS Plus, it is allowed now just to use the local currencies. Before, the matter of ditching the dollar will stimulate a lot of things, of using maybe a third-party currency like the yuan or ruble, whatsoever is acceptable. It's a good point as well, because both countries, they having a promising economies, and they are trying to stimulate a lot of investments and the infrastructure and things like that. Therefore, they can they have a mutual reliance upon each other. This is a very important issue, or very significant issue that should be discussed. And also, I heard from the Venezuelan ambassador here in Egypt, Omar Paviento, that also they allowed to Egypt just to be a part of this Latin America free zone area, which including, most of the Latin American countries, and that will allow to us just to import maybe the part that representing the shortage of the energy that we have from countries like, for example, Venezuela, that having influx in the production, and one of the main countries in the OPEC. This kind of, also getting the benefit of Brazil, how to produce the energy from some crops, like the maize and or the corn or things like that. All such ideas should be stimulated and made. Also in the field of, as I told you before, should we have and embrace some kind of mutual pools or incubators for the startups, and the micro businesses and things like that.
Yes.
Because we have similar situation of the people between Egypt and Brazil, and also there is some sort of parity in the two countries between the rich people and the poor people. Therefore, we have a lot of promising ideas, and proposals should be tackled, and we should shed the light on via the talks of the two tops of the states.
Yes, Dr. Ahmed Mustafa, the international relations expert, thank you very much for being with us on the daily debate over the phone. And we will be heading to the other top story that took place today, and it comes through the presidential activities of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, who had held a meeting with Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli on Thursday. During the meeting, President al-Sisi was briefed on the outcomes of the Prime Minister's participation in the World Government Summit, which was held in Dubai upon an invitation from the UAE's Vice President and the Prime Minister, Sheikh Mohamed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. The head of state also followed up on the progress report of a number of government working files. After the break, we will be heading to the first report of the daily debate for tonight. And the main topic, of course, will be the artificial intelligence and the future of it in terms of fueling the Egyptian digital transformation for the country in the upcoming few years. We will be focusing on the communications and the artificial intelligence in the upcoming report. Stay tuned.
The information and communications technology (ICT) sector in Egypt is very robust, with a growth rate higher than Egypt's overall level of GDP growth, equivalent to 20% in fiscal year 2022-2023 compared to 16.2% in year 2019-2020. Its contribution to the GDP has increased to 5% in fiscal year 2020-2021 compared to 4.4% in 2019-2020. Total investments in the sector in year 2020-2021 has reached almost $3 billion. Under its ICT 2030 strategy, the Egyptian government is undertaking a series of investments, capacity building and training programs, digital government services reforms, and infrastructure upgrades. The strategy calls for launching new initiatives to maximize the contribution of the ICT sector to Egypt's economic growth by focusing on capacity building, electronics, design and manufacturing, and technology parks. The strategy also includes a plan for the digital transformation of core government services in the following areas: education, healthcare, and government services. The Ministry of Communication and Information Technology, MCIT, has an initiative called Our Future is Digital and aims to train 100,000 young Egyptians and develop their ICT skills in areas of higher market demand, including website design, data analysis, and digital marketing. The ministry also launched in 2020 Our Digital Opportunity initiative to engage with SMEs in the digital transformation process. The ministry's Digital Egypt project aims to supply all government entities with fiber optic cable connections. This process has been completed in 5,300 government buildings across Egypt, and when completed, will connect some 32,000 buildings at a total cost of 6 billion Egyptian pounds. The new administrative capital, NAC, 30 miles east of central Cairo, is expected to eventually house most central government offices, with a target move-in date of mid-2024. The government is planning for the NAC to be a smart city and is investing heavily in the new city's telecommunications and ICT infrastructure. The first phase of Knowledge City, which will be located inside the NAC, is completed. It will include applied research centers for technology to facilitate technical training, software and applications development, and data design. The Knowledge City is estimated to cost a total of 12 billion Egyptian pounds, $750 million. Within the city, there are planning to establish creative innovation hubs that will provide technical assistance to promote innovation and entrepreneurship. The ministry is also working on developing 6 technology parks in the cities of Minya, Menofia, Mansoura, Sohag, Qina, and Aswan. These parks are aimed at supporting entrepreneurship and innovation and will consist of hardware design labs, startup incubators, and training institutions, and integrated systems for AI training, data science, and cybersecurity. The government is currently focused on moving towards a digital economy and accelerating the country's digital transformation, which offer opportunities for ICT companies. Decent Life, Haya Karima, is a presidential initiative to raise the efficiency of the telecommunication infrastructure in villages. This initiative has three main pillars: connecting villages with fiber optic cables for better internet speed and stability will cover 1 million homes, developing 906 post offices that will include ATM machines, and improving telecommunication services by creating cell phone stations in those villages. Part of Vision 2030 is to increase localization through increasing the local content. Therefore, several multinational companies provide raw material and cooperate with local entities to have an assembly line in Egypt. This increases the chances to win government tenders and provides the localization added value to the proposals. Best prospects for exporters are smart cities solutions, e-education software, e-finance applications, artificial intelligence, cyber security, surveillance equipment, and telecommunication infrastructure.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and I'm honored to be having with me in the studio for tonight Engineer Mohamed Azzam, the board member of the International Association of Management of Technology. Thank you very much for being with us tonight.
Always my honor and pleasure being with you.
The
Thank
pleasure
you.
is all mine. Of course, we will be focusing tonight on the artificial intelligence in general and how we can be using it here in Egypt. How would you analyze and assess the efforts that we have done and we have exerted and the achievements that we have had under the tenure of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, specifically in the field of the ICT sector and its impact on the investments and the overall economic development?
Thank you for this question. Actually, ICT as a sector is a locomotive for any developments here in Egypt as well as every part of this world. Yes. Technology, our sector by itself, is progressing here in Egypt at double digits. And contributing to almost 6.2 billion US dollars exports. Yes. And the number of staff members working in this domain exceeding like almost 40,000 people, and this sector always employing the top notch experienced, skilled labor in the country. And of course, without employing the technology, without utilization of the technology, it would be very hard to progress any sector socially or economically. So technology is embedded in every single sector that we are living in. And of course, part of the technology is to create technology by startups and to help the industry by availing support to youngsters working in this very promising sector. As well as it's very important that you have training and upskilling programs. I would say it's upskilling programs for the people working in this domain or for the people who would like to enter this domain. We've seen so many initiatives are taking place, particularly for upskilling the skills of so many Egyptians, especially the youth, in the domain of ICT and its related domains, of course. As well as you are embedding technology in governmental sectors. Maybe part of it is the e-government or the public offering or the digital public offerings. This is mainly to ease the business and to provide high quality services to citizens and as well as to businesses. And we've seen now Digital Egypt platform, which is I think one of the most successful projects and initiatives that took place over the last few years. Now we have like 168 services available online for Egyptians, as well as this actually platform now witnessing a huge growth with respect to the number of users. Today we have more than 8 million users. Actually, they conducted more than 40 million transactions. If you compare it, these figures to the last month or the before last month, you witness like an increase of 20 to 25% with respect to the number of subscribers and the number of transactions. So technology is the main driver, and without having this kind of the employment of technology to the maximum in every single domain, either on the agriculture sector, in the trade sector, service sector, manufacturing sector, you cannot progress such sectors. Actually, you cannot have a sustainable development, because sustainable development is always about having public policies that supports technology utilization and development, as well as having a sort of economic development based on the progression of technology. That's why ICT sector is always keen to have very dynamic strategies, focusing on how to utilize the emerging technologies for the development of Egypt. And of course, you mentioned artificial intelligence is a very clear example, and we have very clear, actually very robust strategy for having a better position on the ladder of AI as a country, as a companies. Especially, we have so many startups working in this very specific domain, and they are actually excelling in this domain, and they are taking so many awards, and even they are attracting investment. The number of companies were able to attract such investment in the startup arena. We're talking here about 170 startups compared to 80 last year, and they were able to attract more than 800 million US dollars compared to almost 500 million US dollars. This sector is very promising, and it always very promising, and Egypt, I think, is doing great in this, and however, we need more, because this industry totally dependent on brains and quality of brains, and of course we have such quality of brains. Especially, you see now so many disciplines in the higher education sector that are focusing on emerging technologies, that including the artificial intelligence, including the augmented reality, the virtual reality, digital arts as well. So the landscape is very dynamic, and we are coping with the landscape according to the progression of such emerging technologies.
Yes, and speaking of the current landscape, not just in Egypt, but for the region, for the Middle East, and for the world, in the midst of all the challenges and the crisis that we have seen and we have witnessed politically and economically over the past 5 to 6 years. How do you think artificial intelligence and technology in general could be helping Egypt to be evading all those challenges and the crises?
This is actually very important issue, and most of the nations are focusing now on how to use artificial intelligence for protecting the global security.
Yes.
And peace as well. Because the technology, or such emerging technology, is progressing at very high pace. And actually the size of investment in such specific domain exceeds 100 billion US dollars a year. And the number of patents in AI domain is like 30x compared to other patents filed in any other emerging technology, because artificial intelligence is not only progressing at very high pace, but also is affecting each single economic sector, and expected to have like 15 trillion US dollar addition to the global GDP. That's why Egypt has a very promising AI strategy that based on so many pillars that include, of course, AI for government services, which is very important. And we've seen a lot of AI application. When we are talking here about the Digital Egypt platform, they are utilizing AI to the maximum in such a platform for availing public services and offerings to the public, as well as there is another track for AI for development. So we are witnessing also development of very high-end applications based on AI for early detection for diseases, for example, for smart agriculture, for smart irrigation, for smart logistic systems and supply chain. Also, there is a track for building capacity. Capacity building in AI, because it's moving at very high speed, you need to upgrade the skills all the time for the people, the expertise, and upgrade the skills of expertise in this domain all the time. It's non-stop process, as well as there is a part regarding establishing ties and establishing a sort of international cooperation with the leading nations in this domain, that including United States and including China, and of course recently Brazil. So it's a very comprehensive strategy because you need such technology for boosting the productivity of your economic sectors, including the government services, including the manufacturing sector, the defense and aerospace sector, the pharmaceutical sector, the trade sector, the agriculture sector. So you need to build the technology actually and own such technology to have an impact, a real impact on the progression on other business and economic sectors.
Yes, Engineer Mohamed Azzam, allow me to be going to the other report of the daily debate for tonight, which focuses on the Egyptian strides in terms of providing and developing the artificial intelligence and technology in general for the economic empowerment and stepping into the future of technology and for the future of a better republic for Egypt. We'll be having more details in the upcoming reports, so stay tuned.
Egypt Makes Electronics is an initiative under the auspices of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, launched to position the electronics industry as one of the key props for growth in the Egyptian economy. EME initiative focuses on two main scopes. First is the superior design and production of electronic circuits and systems with high added value and backed with a high level of tech support. Second is creating a labor-intensive electronics manufacturing industry. EME strategy seeks to nurture and encourage local manufacturing to make Egypt an appealing investment destination for electronics design companies. The strategy attracted numerous investors to 1. Serve the home market, and 2nd, export to regional markets. 3 large manufacturers of mobile phones and tablets began manufacturing in Egypt. Smartphone tablet manufacturers bring a total investment of 2 billion Egyptian pounds and a production capacity of 20 million mobile phones. Electronics innovation hubs are technical prototyping platforms for innovation and invention, providing stimulus for local students, graduates, entrepreneurs, and startups. The electronics aim to leverage the whole value chain, products development, starting from idea creation, system design, PCB, fabricate, assembly, test, packaging, digital fabricate, to final product or system prototyping for mass production. Egypt's digital transformation journey is inextricably linked with the boundless potential of artificial intelligence, from healthcare and agriculture to finance and education. AI is forging a new path of innovation, efficiency, and progress. As Egypt harnesses the transformative power of artificial intelligence, the nation's ability to solve complex challenges and embrace opportunities is being elevated, propelling the country towards a future of technological browse, and sustainable growth.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and I am honored to be having with me over the program for tonight Engineer Mohamed Azzam, the board member of the International Association of Management of Technology. Thank you very much, Engineer Mohamed Azzam, once again for being with us tonight. We have seen over the past report the electronics initiative under the auspices of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to be started and implemented here in the country. What is the importance of having the electronics on top of the initiatives, on top of the ambitions of the Republic to be focusing on for the future?
Again, thank you. Actually, electronics is a key element for the 21st century economy. If you're looking at the size of the semiconductor industry, you're talking here about almost $500 billion a year. And this industry is responsible for the global GDP, which is something like 100 trillion US dollars. And of course, being part of this very important industry, this will give you a different perspective for attracting different quality investment, because this is a very sophisticated industry. And we are having now what's called the Egyptian alliances for electronics, for semiconductors, is becoming part of the Global Semiconductor Association, which is the largest association of the world that actually has all the major players in the electronics. And we have now an innovation center for electronics design in the Knowledge City in the administrative capital, which have like 24 Egyptian companies working in electronics design, and this is very important actually part of the industry, the design, and of course this is very high end and very high value part of the industry. And I think we are moving towards having electronics manufacturing here. Not only assembly, because we have the assembly for many years now, but going into the process of semiconductor manufacturing, and also this will give you another opportunity for investment, because the size of investment in electronics manufacturing, we're talking here about between 10 billion to 20 billion to have a factory for semiconductor. And
yes,
of course, you need to utilize the geographic location of Egypt, because this is very important after the disruption happened to the supply chain due to COVID and to the Ukrainian crisis. And Egypt is now planning to go actually seriously in the sector of not only the electronics design, but also in electronics manufacturing. I think this will give us a great leap ahead in this industry. And that's why now you have specialized polytechnical colleges or technical colleges. Now you have high schools for artificial intelligence or colleges for artificial intelligence. So you are equipping the industry with the right skilled labor that are quite needed in such industry. So that's why this is very important presidential initiative for Egypt Makes Electronics, because this will give you actually a different position on the international level, because now you have your own Egyptian alliances, which is the only local alliances outside the United States, which is another remarkable actually incident, that the only alliances outside the United States is here in the Knowledge City in Egypt.
Yes, Engineer Mohamed Azzam, before wrapping up the episode, I would like to ask more about the generative artificial intelligence, and one of them, or one of the tools of it, is the ChatGPT, which took the world by storm in the past couple of years. How do you think the Egyptians should be benefiting from such an important artificial intelligence tool, and more specifically the students?
This is very important actually, because it's a game changer.
Yes.
And it will reshape so many jobs in the future, that even within the ICT sector. Before the ChatGPT or the generative AI, you had to use coders to write the code. Now we can do it by asking this piece of software to write a code for any kind of application. If I'd like to have a mobile application for playing chess, for example, I can ask the generative AI to write the code and then have a better code and then check if there any kind of vulnerability within the code. And so this is changing a lot of things. Before the generative AI, actually, you wouldn't need such a skill, but for my advice for the generations to come, you need to utilize this. Not copying and pasting, but also use it as a personal assistant to you. Because if you are doing a research, either you go for a web search or a platform like Google, for example, to do the search. Now you can ask and get answers and refine your question and get better answers. And you gather all the information together to build your knowledge. And this is one of the skills will be required in the job market, by the way. If you are working for a big company, one of the questions that you will be asked for, if you are able to use the generative AI to ask the right question to get the right answer. Because if you don't ask the right question, you'll never get an answer. So this is becoming a skill that will change the face of the world, actually, in every single aspect in our life today.
Yes, changing the face of the world. How do you think this would be changing the working or the work culture here in Egypt, and more specifically as we have seen during the COVID-19 pandemic and the regulations and the measures that were taken here in the country to be working from home or working online? Do you think that this will be introduced more and more in the future here in the country?
Will change everything actually here in Egypt as well as all over the world.
Yes.
Because it's actually it was a surprise of how could artificial intelligence do things. Maybe in the past we were talking about artificial intelligence, but we cannot see it because it's embedded everywhere around us. But having now on your mobile phone or on your desktop or your laptop and start doing things with this tool, this will change, will alter even the job descriptions of many professions all over the world. That's why we need to understand the dynamics of this new emerging technology and to be able to use it to the maximum level and have it as a real personal assistant that will help me to excel in my work. And of course, this will change also so many, I would say, routine jobs, and definitely will alter the requirements of such routine jobs. It will make them less required in the near future. That's why I need to be skilled all the time to understand this kind of technology, to deal with it, and to get the best of it, because no one will actually live without it in the very now and in the very near future.
Yes, Engineer Mohamed Azzam, the board member of the International Association of Management of Technology. Thank you very much for being with us tonight on the Daily Debate.
Always pleasure and honor. Thank you.
Anytime. And this brings us to the end of the Daily Debate for tonight. Thank you for watching and goodbye.